What's up, everybody? M.V.K here coming to you again. And this is for all the fans out there, my listeners that still support this show, and I will continue to do the recaps for this show until the end. Uh, and that's the Cape. Now, you saw last week I didn't do a recap for episode 7 because this week's episode was actually a two-parter. The Lich was actually a two-parter, so I wanted to do it in just one big recap. Now, before I get started, I was doing some more research on the show and what's going to happen, and it finds out that NBC has basically, it was supposed to be scheduled for a 13 episode series, but they've diminished it, cut it down to 10 to bring back that show called The Event real soon. So it's going to be only 10 episodes. So basically, for all those who have been saying, oh, this show is going to be canceled, you might get your wish. But let me just say this. I, for one, still enjoyed this show. I thought it was very unique, very interesting. So if it goes off the air, at least I'll say I'll still have it, because I was recording it while it was on, so I'll still have the memories of it. And so let's get started. Basically, The Lich was a two-part episode 7 and 8, which aired last night, last night. And I'll go over what happened in the first episode. Basically, after a woman that one of the character Rolo dated, named Janet Peck, she is basically found dead. Max asks Vince to use his cop skills to gather evidence, and at the grave site, basically, she supposedly rose from the grave, and so later on we get to discover that she was not dead. She was actually in some kind of trance that was basically being augmented by a secreted highly neural toxin that gave off the premonition of being dead, but you're really under control. So Vince tries to alert his former partner Marty, who is now the police chief, of the impending threat of during the founding days parade of Palm City. Now, Vince and Marty have a little bit of disagreement with each other. Vince is still upset about the fact that, Marty betrayed him. That was his partner. This was his boy, and they finally come to terms. However, Marty tells Peter Fleming, aka Chess, what he did, and they set up the Cape to get arrested. However, later on, the Cape gets freed. But even during that time, it was found out that Peter Fleming wanted to buy a lot of property on the docks. Basically, he was going to use that as fronts for his drugs, basically his drug smuggling. So basically, what happened was, Orwell finally found out that there's a character known as Conrad Chandler, who is a founding heir of Palm City. If he comes to terms, then he can claim ownership of those docks. So Orwell goes out to find him, and later on we find out that the Conrad Chandler character was actually this character known as the Lynch. And he's all burnt up, scarred, and everything, really disfigured. And we see the beginnings of a new villain in the rogues gallery of the Cape. And pretty much they neurotoxin poisoned Orwell with the neurotoxin that he was planning on using on the Founders Day parade, and it ends there. That was where episode 1 ended. So episode 2, which aired last night, aired with right where basically where Orwell is being drugged by the Lich, and he's telling her about his story and everything like that. But inside, what Orwell is seeing is like her a wedding, and that's where we finally get to hear what possibly is Orwell's first name, Jamie, and that was pretty interesting to see. But in the meantime, Vince needs help to get in to see the witness. He needs the help to interrogate one of the Lynch's followers, who is under the neurotoxin as well, named Preston Harwell. So he enlists the help of his wife, Dana. It was kind of interesting to see Dana and Vince talk to his wife. You could see throughout the conversation that he really wanted to tell her who he was. Like, I'm alive, Dana. I'm not dead. It was really also funny to see she was scared of him, but Trip was telling Mom, "Stop, you're embarrassing me," and things like that. You know, it was really good. However, she enlists the help of her boss, Travis Hall, so he can get access into the interrogation room where Preston was, and he was at ARC headquarters. Inside, he basically interrogates, but you know the neurotoxins are too strong for Vince to really get it out just the old-fashioned way. So what Vince does is we finally see Vince use the techniques that he learned from one of Max's group troops that taught him how to hypnotize people and stuff. So he finally used it, and he got the whereabouts of where the Lich was. So, and then we also figured out, for all those who weren't playing Captain Obvious, but we also found out that Peter Fleming is Orwell's father, because she had a vision of him in that trance that she was in, of him being her father. So, I mean, it was obvious. But, inside, once again, Max and Rollo break into the orchard. It was basically where the Lich was, and they rescue Orwell, who has basically been drugged by Conrail Chandler, aka the Lich, and she's pretty much paralyzed. She can't really move. But inside the trance, guys, what Orwell was seeing, or I should call her now Jamie, she was seeing the Lich as Vince. So showing that she kind of has, in my sense, I take it as she has some kind of feelings for Vince. So that was kind of interesting. More good character development, in my opinion. But during the final fight in this episode, we saw the Lich fighting the Cape, and the Cape is just dominating this guy, and Cape is literally doing combinations, 1-2 punches, left hooks, right hooks, jabs, and I'm like saying to myself, shouldn't this guy be going down? What's with this guy? And then finally he reveals that since he was abused in the orphanage and burnt and everything like that, his pain receptors are basically dead. He literally slashed his entire hand and put a big gash in it, and he said, my pain receptors are dead, I don't feel pain. So what Vince did was basically, he said he used his cape and knocked a whole cabinet on him and said, now when you wake up, tell me if you felt this. And at the end, the cape saves the day. They pretty much help Orwell with Max gives her some kind of serum that would get her paralysis out of the way, but even still, she's still fighting the effects of the flashbacks of her wedding, and you start seeing it at the end of that. she's still seeing a white door that was in her vision, and supposedly her mother is behind that door or whatever. Which was interesting. It was very cool. I didn't mind that. But in the end, we kind of see that we saw Trip waiting for his mom to come back, and he basically says to his mom, "So how'd it go?" And she says it went well. He got what he needed, and he even says, "So mom, was he cool? Isn't he cool? Like I told you?" And she's like, "He's pretty cool." But I also get a sense that Dana is starting to maybe figure out that some things, because I don't know, it's just, call it woman's intuition, if I can say it like that, because that's how I sensed it. Like she senses that Cape is more than somebody she knows or somebody like that. But like I said, there's only 2 more episodes left, and it's kind of sad because these, yes, the rating, I will agree, yes, the ratings were dropping. They seem to drop every episode. But there are loyal fans out there that actually like this show, and that's sad to see that this show might get canceled by NBC, because I really was enjoying it. I think it was interesting. Maybe if NBC wouldn't put it on Monday, maybe the ratings would have been better. My advice would have put it on maybe Thursday or Friday or something like that. Some day where it may have done better. Smallville has been doing great ratings, and so has Supernatural on Fridays. So it probably would have done well, in my opinion. But what can you do? I'm just a viewer that likes this show. But that was it for the 2-part episode, the Lich, and I guess people were gonna say to me, hey, "Didn't I tell you, kid? I told you the show was gonna end." But yeah, I guess so. But I'm not gonna agree with you and say it was crap. I'm not gonna agree with you on that, because I enjoyed it, and there are a lot of people that I talked to and seen that have enjoyed the show. But thanks everybody for listening to my recap / review of The Lich Part 1 and 2. And I will continue to do the recaps until the show goes off the air. So other than that, guys, this is Mount Vernon Kid, and you guys take it easy.